These are the country music videos that broke every rule Nashville ever had. In the 1990s, country music didn't just cross over into the mainstream, it stormed the gates of Hollywood itself, producing music videos so cinematic, so ambitious, and so wildly expensive that they were essentially short films. The story of how that happened involves banned footage, Super Bowl standoffs, Hollywood A-listers, and a production company that trained some of the greatest directors in film history. To understand why the 90s country videos looked the way they did, you have to start with a little company called Propaganda Films. Founded in Los Angeles in 1986 by a group that included David Fincher, Dominic Sena, and producer Steve Golan, Propaganda Films became a factory for visual storytelling. The company had already established its credibility through David Lynch collaborations on Twin Peaks and Wild at Heart. Within just 4 years of its creation, the company produced nearly a third of all music videos made in the United States. A third. That's a staggering number. By 1991, Polygram acquired Propaganda Films, cementing its position as the entertainment industry's premier visual content creator. And the directors who came out of that shop? David Fincher, Spike Jonze, Michael Bay, Antoine Fuqua, Zack Snyder, Gore Verbinski, Michel Gondry. These are names that would define Hollywood blockbuster filmmaking for the next 3 decades. But before they were making feature films, they were making music videos, bringing cinematic lighting, elaborate set design, advanced editing techniques, and genuine narrative ambition to a format that had previously been treated as little more than a promotional afterthought. Now, Propaganda Films primarily served pop and rock artists. Fincher directed Madonna's iconic Express Yourself and Vogue. Spike Jonze was doing wildly creative work for Bjork and the Beastie Boys. But here's the thing about influence, it doesn't stay in one lane. The visual language these directors were building, the idea that a music video could and should look like a movie, that bled into every corner of the industry, including Nashville. And Nashville was ready for it. Because in the early 1990s, country music was experiencing a commercial explosion unlike anything the genre had ever seen. The man at the center of that explosion was Garth Brooks. To this day, Garth Brooks remains the #1 selling solo album artist in United States history, with 162 million certified album sales. He's the only artist in music history to have 10 albums go diamond, meaning each one sold over 10 million copies. He surpassed the Beatles' former record of 6. Let that sit for a moment. A kid from Oklahoma who wore a cowboy hat and sang about rodeos and thunder outsold the Beatles in diamond certifications. His 1990 album No Fences was certified for over 18 million units sold. His follow-up, Rope in the Wind, became the first country album ever to debut at #1 on the pop albums chart, where it stayed for 18 weeks. This wasn't just country music success, this was music industry dominance on a scale that demanded an equally massive visual presence. And Garth understood that. Working with producer Alan Reynolds, who had shaped Nashville's sound for decades, Brooks pushed for videos that matched his musical ambitions. He once said, "I always thought that a music video should add another dimension to the song." He didn't want performance clips, he wanted stories, he wanted cinema. Which brings us to The Thunder Rolls. Released in April 1991, the video for The Thunder Rolls was directed by Bud Schetzel, and it was unlike anything country music had ever produced. It told a harrowing story of infidelity and domestic abuse, drawn directly from the lyrics, but pushed further, darker, more visceral than anyone expected. Brooks made a bold choice and played the abusive, philandering husband himself. His reasoning was deliberate. He wanted to make the character so despicable that, in his own words, the whole viewing audience wanted to shoot him. The video premiered on CMT, the first nationally available channel devoted to country music, and TNN. It was banned by both networks within 24 hours. TNN actually offered a compromise. They told Brooks they would air the video if he agreed to add a disclaimer condemning the abuse depicted in it. He refused, said it would compromise the vision. CMT pulled it as well, with a representative stating the network was in business to entertain, not to promote or condone gratuitous violence or social issues. And then something remarkable happened. The ban backfired spectacularly. Television stations, newspapers, and even country bars started requesting copies of the video because of the controversy. Radio stations launched Save the Video petitions. Some venues screened it at fundraisers for local battered women's shelters, turning a piece of banned entertainment into a tool for genuine social awareness. At the end of the year, the Thunder Rolls won the CMA Music Video of the Year award and received a Grammy nomination. A video that couldn't even air on the two biggest country networks in the country won the genre's highest honor. That tells you everything about where the audience was headed. Garth wasn't done pushing boundaries. In January 1993, the video for We Shall Be Free premiered on CMT, and the story behind that premiere involves one of the greatest power plays in country music history. Brooks had been scheduled to sing the national anthem at the 1993 Super Bowl, and he had an agreement with NBC to air the We Shall Be Free video immediately after his performance. On the day of the game, NBC executives told him the song was too controversial and they weren't going to play it. Garth's response was simple. He refused to sing unless the video aired. He left the stadium. NBC caved. The video played for millions. Meanwhile, the production values in Nashville were escalating across the board. The 1993 video for Does He Love You?, Reba McEntire's dramatic duet with Linda Davis, was filmed over 3 days on professional sets by director John Small. It featured Rob Reiner, the actual Hollywood director, playing a director within the video in a memorable cameo. And here's a detail that shows just how intertwined Nashville and Hollywood had become. Reiner's scenes were shot on the set of his 1994 film North, in which McEntire was also starring. They were literally sharing soundstage space between a major motion picture and a country music video. That video is now regarded as one of country music's first true big-budget clips, essentially a short film with both women portraying famous actresses vying for the same man. The cinematic revolution wasn't limited to the biggest stars. Trisha Yearwood's debut single, She's in Love with the Boy, in 1991, featured a narrative-driven video that helped make it the first debut single by a female country artist to reach #1 on the Billboard Hot Country Songs chart. The visual storytelling had become as important as the music itself. And then there were the Dixie Chicks, who took the Hollywood crossover to its logical extreme with Goodbye Earl in 2000. Directed by Evan Bernard, the video assembled a cast that would have been impressive for a feature film. Dennis Franz, Lauren Holly, Jane Krakowski, Adrian Pastar, who would later marry lead singer Natalie Maines. The story of how Franz ended up in the video is perfect. He and the Chicks met backstage at the Rosie O'Donnell show. When told he would have to play a nasty guy, Franz replied, "Hey, I've done that before." And then immediately said, "No, no, no. I want to be Earl." The video won both the ACM and CMA Video of the Year in 2000. CMT later ranked it 6th on their list of the 100 greatest music videos of all time. So why did every 90s country video look like a Hollywood movie? Because the money was there. Because the audience was there. Because a generation of directors trained at places like Propaganda Films had fundamentally raised the bar for what a music video could be. Because CMT and TNN were competing for viewers and needed premium content. Because artists like Garth Brooks, Reba McEntire, and the Dixie Chicks refused to treat videos as afterthoughts and instead saw them as extensions of their art. Over 3 decades later, Garth Brooks recently opened what he calls The Vault on his website, re-releasing 7 classic music videos including the infamous Thunder Rolls clip. Fully remastered, no edits, no disclaimers, on his own terms. Because the videos that Nashville tried to suppress became the videos that defined an era. The 90s didn't just change how country music sounded, they changed how it looked. And we've been chasing that standard ever since.